Okay guys, so what I want to do right now is I want to go through all the modules after the first module. Now, this is going to be completely different based on the course. If you're doing something for intermittent fasting, you're not going to have a week about building Shopify stores. That being said, I want to show you exactly how detailed everything is. Like look at just this first week right here. 30/30 build. We go through everything like why Shopify is a good idea, how to pick a store and domain name, legal compliances, installing this app, importing products. Every single little thing they're going to do is gone through in painstaking detail. So you can see as we go through this, everything is built upon us assuming they know nothing. Like, look how many videos there are per module right here. Everything is broken down. And then we have a checklist and Q&A sessions after each module. And so what I'm trying to stress right here is when you're designing your product, here's how you cannot go wrong. Assume the person knows absolutely nothing. They've never made their first website. They've never done anything. People want to see over the shoulder and see it done step by step. You need to explain everything step by literal step. Assume nothing. What a lot of people do is when they make the products, they assume people know something. And then they make all these products and the people don't know one or two key things and then they mess it up. Like, for example, a person doesn't understand how to make a Shopify store and then they just get lost in this step and then they just quit because you just like skip the Shopify store section. So build your product always assuming they know nothing, especially if you're making in the $997 to $2,000 price range. You might as well assume the person doesn't even have a Facebook account. That's how you make a really good product. And you need to go through every single little thing they need to do. And now what we do at the end of every single week is we also have an assessment that makes sure that they actually went through and understood the module. Because if they don't understand this module and they go to the next module, they're not going to get results. This is what we're talking about when it comes to actually working on how you teach people, actually working on how you get people using your product, not just giving them information. If being successful was as simple as giving a person information, you could just write a book, hand it to somebody, and everybody would be a millionaire. People need to learn how to do things. They need to be taught how to do things correctly. So you can see we have an assessment at the end of each week, and then we also ask them to attend a Q&A call before moving on. So before people go and start ads, like one thing we did is we assume, hey, people are going to mess up their ads. And so what we have them do, because we know they're getting caught up in their ads, is we first make them take an assessment explaining and passing, basically saying how Facebook ads work. And then we have them attend a Q&A call where we look at their ads. That's how you get a person results. You see how different it is than just giving them an ad section and saying, go nuts? Like, can you think of a better way for a person to go lose money on ads than going and just kicking up ads, making some ads that they've never worked on before? They've never worked in Facebook Ads before. They're going to blow through $200 a day like that, and they're going to be pissed off. They're not going to get a result. So what we do is we mitigate all those things all the way down. We not only do it over the shoulder, we make them take a test, making sure they understand it, and then we actually look at their ads and look at what they're doing. That's how you force a person to get results. And if a person's paying $2,000, $3,000 for your product, you should be able to invest that time in them. What is that, like $300 worth of time invested? Actually, across all your coaches and all your customer success, it's like $50 invested per person, time-wise, to make sure that they get a result and they don't refund a $2,000 product. And so that's how you really want to structure all your modules after it. You want to use the same pattern. Assume they know nothing. Teach everything down to it. Setting up the WordPress installation, installing plugins, cooking the food, buying the food. What food should they buy? Everything explained and linked to. Make them take an assessment, confirming understanding, then have them attend Q&A calls to check what they've done. If they're building a website, have their websites get checked. If a person goes out there and builds a Shopify website, does it wrong, imports their stuff incorrectly, and then takes the assessment showing that they know what they're doing, but they just didn't do it, and then they hop in a Q&A call, our coach is going to be like, dude, this site isn't going to work. And it's going to save that person all the headache and all the trouble that comes with not getting results. Now, at the end of each section as well, we've mapped every single step of the section into a checklist. For example, let me show you, let's go, all right. So if the person's goal right here is to get the $500 a month, we literally mapped $100 a day down to a checklist. Okay? Like we literally have it down to a checklist right here that they can follow in a CSV. So what we do is we provide for the person a checklist and we show them how to use the checklist. This is so critical. Again, we're assuming nothing. We assume the person's going to completely mess it up right here. So if I go look at this CSV right here, We have every step that they need to do. And then we have links to the videos for them explaining what to do. We remove every obstacle for the user. And I want to stress this in your products. Like, I'm going through every aspect of our product and why it works. And this is everything you should include in your products. Every step you need to accomplish. And it shows them the steps they need to go through. So they can come in here and download this and actually complete the steps. Because we assume they know nothing. And then we show them how to use a checklist. So look at that format for a module. First off, assume they know nothing. Go through everything step by step. Make them take an assessment. Make them hop on a Q&A call. Provide a checklist that stops them from going outside of the course. See, one of the biggest troubles people have when they're teaching info is people are going to go outside the course. What a better way to fail. And so you need to make sure the person stays in a straight line. And so this is why we use checklists. And I'll explain this a little bit later on, but this is the format you want to use over and over and over again as you walk a person through it. Now, the final thing I want to go through is when you're making your modules, this is pretty common sense, but go through everything in an orderly fashion to getting success. It should be like if you were building a website yourself or doing this, you don't want to teach one thing here that should be right here in the process. You want to limit the flow of information in your courses. This is why, like, I'm not giving you guys access to the ads the second you join Iron, because you're just going to jump the ads and you're going to mess up the entire process. You're going to connect the ads. It's not going to work because your refunds and payment plans are out of control and the funnels aren't optimized. You're not going to get results. You're going to say this product sucks, and when all the info is actually in there. And so, like, I'm not going to go in here and talk about ads down here when it needs to be talked about here. I'm going through the entire process I would use, assuming that you know nothing about making a product from absolute start to finish. And the same thing you got to do in your courses and programs. Assume absolutely nothing. And so you can see as we go through there in the program for HCOM, for example, and walk through everything start to finish. And then ads is the last thing. You also want to get all the risky stuff way back in the program. You want this like way down here. And you want to have different types of ads. You want to have different types of challenges. Like right here on the ads, we have most of the module is based on not messing up ads. And you can see before we even let them get ads, we give them a checklist. We tell them to attend the Q&A. If they have 12 ads or they go out there and they're not feeling good about their ads, attend the Q&A. Let us fix it for you. What you see I'm doing right here is everything we talked about. Any problem the person has, when there's a straight line to their result, there is constantly something to jam them back in. If they're coming down here and they try to skip around, boom, jam back in. If they come down here and they're trying to do extra steps or add extra things, nope, jam back in. If they're going out there and about to start running ads that are wrong, Q&A coach pushes them back in. We're constantly jamming them back into line to get to the result, because this is your biggest challenge with an info proc. People come through and they're constantly trying to go out here, and what happens is most people's info procs, person comes in here and then they just go out here and then they like apply another tactic they saw on YouTube. They don't get any help. They put in a bunch of extra steps that you never even talked about. That's one thing we see all the time. Like, is it in the checklist? No. Then don't even think about it. Don't even think about doing it. Shut up. Get back in line. That's what we're doing the entire program. This is your challenge. This is where the money's made at, not right here in the content. Getting people jammed back in and into the content and applying the content the way it's meant to be applied is how it is. So constantly have this mindset in your head. Where can I prevent people from getting offline and jam them back in? And this is so important with mass product markets like most of you guys run. When you guys are selling a $5,000, $10,000 product, a little bit easier to keep people in line because they have a little bit better habits. They're a little bit more serious about using the program and their business or whatever they're doing. They already have experience. They already understand, the key concepts. When you have a person that's brand new to something, they're going to be trying to add 10 and if you're teaching them how to bake a cake, they're going to constantly be trying to go to the store and throw in Tabasco sauce and look up another cake recipe on YouTube. And they're going to go out there and they're going to go and try to make a cake without icing. You have to assume everything is going to go wrong. And that's how you make a stellar product that gets people results. And that's how you design your modules and everything that comes after the first module.